Hello, everyone. My guest today is Mayank Agrawal. With a background in engineering and sales and a passion for innovation, he uncovers ways to improve the spaces in which we work. As CEO of Zenspace, he and his team develop technology-enabled office pods that create quiet, private workspaces in open offices and public venues. Mayank, you ready to take us to the top?
Yes, sir. Thank you for inviting me.
I always walk by these things in the airport and I go, do people use these? You swipe your card on the outside and you probably pay per minute or something for a quick call or a Zoom call or something. And I go, I'd never seen anyone in them though. Do they get used?
Well, so we are going live in public spaces from September 1st, and you will start seeing them popping up in 3 cities to start with: San Francisco, Las Vegas, and Philadelphia. So honestly, that would be the first time I will learn about how the experience is. But by far, we go to events and the usage is 100%. We have a very hard time. We turn down people actually come. So we go to events for 3 or 4 days, business events, major large business events in Las Vegas and many other cities across the country. And the usage is just phenomenal. The feedback is phenomenal.
So how many, here's my question to you, because I want to get a sense of kind of the scale of your testing so far. How many then unique pods have you, if you take all the conferences you've gone to and you add up all the unique pods across all those conferences, how many pods have you tested out in the wild?
So we have 15 pods in our inventory right now, 15, and we have been testing them in different sizes, different numbers in different events. And so the arrangement we have is event organizers. We set up a business lounge for event organizers. And these are normally 2 to 3 day event in different cities. So we bring them to the event and we tear them down at the very last day. Very easy to assemble, very easy to move them around. So we have done around 15 events so far. And
okay, so 15 times 15 units is about 225 kind of unique times each of these units has been in the wild.
Unique, yes, unique events, unique pods. Yeah, absolutely. That's actually one way to put the metrics.
Okay, and what does it cost? What's the hardware cost on one pod?
You're looking at approximately $12,000 to $15,000, depending on the size, give or take. And we, so a 2-seater, we have different dimensions of the pod. So 2-seater and 4-seater units is what we are promoting right now, and the price you're looking at is around $12,000 to $15,000.
Sorry, how much? 12 to 15?
Yes.
To build, and then what do the conference organizers pay per pod?
So we actually rent them for around $1,500 a day.
1,500?
Yeah.
Okay.
Per pod. Yep, on a 4-seater. On a 4-seater unit, that's the going price, $1,500 per day. But having said that, that's actually our event rental business. We will be slowly transforming. We will not necessarily be pursuing that business because we are going live in public spaces. We are making deals with convention centers all across the country. And the idea is to have them permanently placed inside the convention center rather than moving them in and out all the time.
Okay, so what's the model there?
So then the model is actually, we offer 2 different models. There are leasing. So a convention center can lease the pods from us on an annual basis, and they can then rent it out, or people can swipe the credit card, and because they are smart pods. I'm sure you're aware of that, right?
Yeah.
So these are smart pods. So
Mayank, what would the convention center pay for a year for a 4-seater to lease it?
So a 4-seater would be $15,000. $15,000 on a 4-seater
for the year.
For a year, but it includes all the revenue collection, maintenance. We maintain a team of people in every city, which actually does a daily run, because these are smart pods. It requires certain level of maintenance as well.
Okay.
There is a technology upkeep, hardware maintenance, furniture, and it's public usage. As you can imagine, in public, when you have a product like this, it does takes the beating from all kind of things. Whether it is the furniture itself, there is a bunch of electronics.
Okay, so got it. So $15,000 for the convention center, the Austin Convention Center in Austin, Texas, to lease one of these pods, stick it next to a meeting at the Starbucks in the convention center for a full year. They can then charge whatever they want. Is it per minute, per hour? What does your software allow them to charge by?
Per minute or per hour, whatever that they decide. They can actually tell us that what is the minimum time they want to charge on that specific pod, and our software platform allows them to configure them. So we can actually charge per 15 minutes, for instance. I mean, it doesn't make sense to go smaller than 15 in my personal view, but it's a choice that they can make. So we can charge per minute or per 15 minutes.
Is there something related like surge pricing where during a massive convention they could triple the price point?
They can so right now the price change has to be done manually. The space provider, the owner of the pod, actually gets that a dashboard, just like Airbnb dashboard, where he can change the pricing manually. But at some point, once we have enough data and our AI engine kicks in, at that point, we will actually also bring in search pricing kind of concepts.
Yeah. Okay. So just to be clear, you've done 15 of these venues, 15 conferences, 15 units, and kind of at each conference to test this thing out. How many unique people have like swiped their card or like gone in, conference attendees?
Oh, so by the way, event organizers pay us directly, and most of these event organizers don't charge their attendees anything. So the price is set as free, $0 per.
I know, I get that. I'm trying to get a measurement of usage though. So how many times did a attendee go in or out of one of these?
Right. So we are talking about so the signed users. If that is a question that you have, we have currently around 3,000 users signed up on our platform at this point. Individual users. I mean, of course, they are one-time use customers because all these customers see them at the respective event that they are visiting.
Yeah, of course. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. So 3,000 people have kind of gone in and out across the 15 pods you've put at 15 different conferences. So there's 225 kind of days of pod availability, right? And 3,000 have gone in and out. So I can take 3,000, right, divided by the 225 instances. You're averaging about 1.3 kind of instance per day pod.
Well, 13 approximately.
Sorry. You're right. 13. Yeah, 13 per day pod.
Yeah, well, 13 per event. So basically you have an event is actually 2 to 3 days. So you're looking at around 4 to 5 users per day per pod. Yep.
Yeah. Is that right? So 3,000 total, you've done 15 events. So you've had 200 kind of visits on average per event divided by 15 pods. It's 13 per pod. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yep, you're right, per day, because each event's 3 days.
And then, because it's a 2 to 3 days event, right?
Yeah,
so
no, you got it. And all these have been free though, right? Do you have any revenue yet?
Yeah, so we make revenues. I can't disclose the numbers at this point at the show, but definitely happy to chat if there is any further interest by people.
Well, I mean, you've already shared some. I'm just asking, did you give these away for free on the 15 test, or did you charge?
So there are some events are so critical for Zenspace success, promotional events. So we offer a barter deal. We don't actually charge the event organizer anything. In return, they give us free space. So those are non-revenue generating events. But I would say 10 of our events have generated revenue for us so far.
Yeah, that's great.
And just to give you a ballpark, I mean, you're looking at $10,000 to $25,000 per event revenue. That's the kind of ballpark per event that we have generated.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess what I'm trying to get at is actually like monthly recurring revenue, but this isn't really a SaaS company.
Well, we are going to offer our pods in a SaaS model, purely SaaS model, right? So it's a subscription-driven model. We don't sell the hardware. So basically, as I described, $1,250 per month. Austin Convention Center, you gave an example, for instance. They pay us $1,250 per month. That's
like hardware as a service. It's not really I mean, I guess it's kind of like, here, we'll sell you if you're Airbnb, we'll sell you a house and we'll sell you the software.
Yeah, no, by the way, we do use this term hardware as a service, workspace as a service in our business plan. So it's definitely a combination of hardware and software which comes together, which we offer as a service. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So how have you, besides the 10 that have paid, obviously you had to spend, if they cost 12 grand to build, you had to spend about almost 200 grand building these things. Did you bootstrap the company or raise capital?
Yeah, so we have raised some capital. We have raised close to $700,000 at $7 million pre, and part of which was regulation crowdfunding, as if you're familiar with that, seedinvest.com and
Seedinvest.
Seedinvest.com, yeah, and that was early in the year, and then we did. And half of that was actually done through Regulation D, which is traditional angel investment. And
why'd you use Seed Invest instead of like Start Engine or someone else in the space?
Well, it came through a very strong reference. Number one, I mean, a colleague of mine, they referred me to Seed Invest. I really like the due diligence process. They were very detailed and thorough in the way they actually, and of course, I had to make. I did not necessarily, and I looked at the number of raise per, one of the big things that I liked about Seed Invest is the due diligence process. And the other thing was the per ticket raise, per raise value, which was quite high as compared to others.
Yeah. What's your team size today? How many folks?
We have 14 people in the company right now, of which 9 are software engineers, and 5 of us are into sales, marketing, and operations.
And so, how aggressive are you being? What I'm trying to back into is kind of how you're aggressive are you being in terms of growth? So I assume you're burning, but are we talking like 10 grand a month or 100 grand a month?
We are burning around, we are spending around 50 grand a month, approximately on an average, 45, we average around $50,000 a month.
That's total spend though. What's net burn when you add back revenue?
Yeah. So, so we are going into that mode at this point. This is the time, and I can actually give you more specific details offline instead of actually on a public.
No. This is a podcast interview. That's why it's a podcast, so everybody can learn.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but we are actually going into a zone where we are targeting around $1 million plus revenue in this year. If that is actually something.
Yeah. What'd you do total last year?
Total last year was close to $100,000.
Yeah, pretty good by the way for basically a testing year.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a pure testing, and so we should be. And our goal is to actually. So we already have deals in pipeline, which we should be closing with convention centers to install and we are actually onboarding a shopping mall in San Francisco City, for instance. We are also and there are three additional convention centers that we are working with. So 3 convention centers and the shopping mall. We are looking at around 30 pods installed across these locations by end of September, and our goal is to go to 70 to 80 pods by end of the year. 70 to 100.
So $1 million in total revenue in 2019 is your target. How much cash collected to date?
So again, I don't want to be very specific right now, but I would be happy to share more detailed information.
Well, you already shared you did 100K last year, right? You want to do $1 million this year.
We are actually at the $1 million mark. I can't disclose at this point the amount of revenue and cash we have generated so far. We are going through certain investment and auditing processes.
Mayank, you just told me you did $100,000 last year, so you already disclosed that. You already disclosed your target is $1 million this year. I'm simply asking, how realistic are your expectations, right? How much have you already done this year?
No, we definitely. So as I said, we are going into contracts. We are actually already having almost final signatures coming in this week and next week.
Yeah, I know, Mayank. I don't care about all that because contracts die at the finish line all the time. That's why I'm asking how much has actually done secured in your bank to this point.
From a cash perspective, you're talking about investment and revenue coming in from
customers, real customers. You can give a range.
I will actually be happy to share that number when we talk in person rather than on a public forum. So at this point, that's the best I can say, Nathan. So
okay, look, it doesn't. All I'm trying to do, by the way, is make you look good, right? My job is to ask CEOs tough questions, make them look good. But see, now you put yourself in a weird spot where my audience is going to be going, wait, he's hiding something. He already shared some revenue numbers. Why is he choosing not to share this one? So if you don't want to add anything else, we'll leave it there and I'll move on.
Well, why don't I actually let me bake this in? How is that important actually? Why is that important?
Because let's say you only have $1 of revenue cash collected so far this year. You're basically telling my audience, hey guys, I have this super unique distribution channel where I think I'm going to close 99% of my total cash this year in the last 6 months. And they would want to know about what that channel is. That would be impressive.
I don't feel comfortable at this point, Nathan, to be honest, because I think we are going through some investment due diligence with the private investors, institutional investors.
But why, Mayank? You're gonna have to give them data anyway. Why the hell does that matter?
I will rather give it to them, not to and I don't want my competition, for instance, to be aware of everything that is going on.
Yeah, but your competition already knows you did 100 grand last year. Your target's $1 million this year. They know your cost per pod. They know your team. They know you're burning. They know your total expenses are 45 grand.
Okay, how about this? So we are actually around $250,000 in revenue so far.
Okay, so this is good. So you feel like you're gonna get 3/4 of your revenue here in the second half of the year. You feel good about that.
Second half is actually going to be a very busy second half.
Yeah. What makes? I would say the biggest thing that I see you have to figure out how to overcome is the cash gap between paying to manufacture these things and your payback, whatever your payback is per hardware unit, which it sounds like it might be a year. Is that ultimately why you go out and raise additional capital?
payback is less than 3 months. It's very simple math. I can give you a very simple math. $1,250 per month. You're looking at $40, $45, or $50 at the most per day. The venues that we are going into are very high profile venues, some of the top resorts, top convention centers in the country. And they actually want to charge for 1 hour that kind of money, $50 per hour, right? For the events that they conduct. So their break even is actually 1 hour per day. Or,
Mayank, I'm not talking about their break even. I'm talking about you. If you're paying $12,000 to manufacture one of these things and you're renting it at $1,200 a month, cash gap you have to gap is just basically a 12-month cash gap.
But we have debt financing already covered. So once we sign the contract, we get debt financed from our bank.
Okay, that's what I was curious. So you hadn't mentioned that, right? So help us understand how you line that up.
So basically what we do is when we sign a 12-month lease contract with a large convention, we have some private banks and private individuals who are actually backing us up with those funds. So basically what happens is, just to give an example, let's say you give somebody is an investor, he wants to write a debt finance check to us. They get 10%. We get 10% discounted money from. So we don't get 1,250 anymore. We get 11 something odd, which actually.
Mayank, sorry, I just want to make this simple for the audience. Let's say it costs you $10,000 to build one of these pods. You get an order for one pod today.
Right.
You know it's going to take you a year to make back, $1,200 a month, over 8 months gets you your $10,000 back. You're going to find an investor, a debt firm on day one to loan you $10,000.
Right.
What are they going to make in terms of interest on the $10,000?
So we are offering between 8 to 15%, depending on the deal, depending on the deal we have, the debt financing, between 8 to 15. That's the current range, and we have different investors at different price range.
Got it. Very interesting. Okay. That's good stuff. You're talking right now, you might go out and raise. You said already you raised $700K on a $7 million cap. Right now, if you raise, what's the right amount to raise and why is now the right time?
End our seed round until end of June. And we have some active discussions going on right now to add another $800,000. So we want to bring the raise to close to $1.5 million with a target for next round of Series A towards mid Q1, end of Q1 for a Series A.
Okay, so you're raising another $800K on the $700 you already raised on the $7 million cap.
That's right.
I got it. Okay, cool. Good. And then how many customers have you signed up? So in terms of, conference venues you're leasing to or office spaces, et cetera.
Yeah, so we are actually, we have signed 3 convention centers and 1 shopping mall chain. It's a chain, basically. They're starting with one of the properties in San Francisco, and they want to expand, of course, nationwide with us if this pilot goes.
And they're all paying $1,250 a month? They have one pod?
We have, sorry, I could not cover the second part of the deal. So some of them actually, 2 of them are paying us lease, and 2 of them are actually revenue share deals. So pure revenue share, where we invest and we take 75% of the revenue.
So what do you think you'll make when you add that up? What do you think you'll make per customer per month?
We will make per customer, per pod, easy $3,000 to $4,000 for Zenspace. $3,000 per pod per month is what our.
So how many pods across the 4 customers?
30 pods.
Okay, yeah. So you think you're going to make $3,000 a month per pod?
That's right.
Okay, but you haven't done that yet. This is all historical projections in the next 6 months.
Based on event rental data that we have, that how much event organizers are willing to pay at convention center. Even if they pay half of the $1,500 per day is what we charge today. We will charge $700 to $800 per day to event rental customers. We will actually also have hourly usage when events are not renting it, and we have third revenue stream, which is through advertising on the side.
Got it. When did you launch the company? What year?
2017. So June of 2017 is when I got the idea, and November of 2017 is when we incorporated.
And what is the advertising cost?
Right now, we are spending. We actually will start spending in advertising. We actually, by the way, right now is one-on-one sales. We actually have sales.
My question was, you said you're going to make money off advertising. What does it cost if someone wants to pay to advertise with you?
Oh, okay. We have not established that. So we have only established hourly usage and daily rental at this point in time. And when we establish the pods in the location, then we will start working on the advertising.
If you put one of my magazines,
yes,
okay, and one of my books, which is a Wall Street Journal bestseller, so you know it's good, in every pod.
Yes,
I'll pay you something for that.
Okay, so I can actually, that actually is exciting. So I have a customer here signed up on the show, I guess.
We'll see. It's got to be a good deal, though. I'm a tough negotiator.
Yeah, well, that I can tell. So you know your number.
All right, Mayank.
Better than I do, but that's good. So
Well, email me. I'm serious. I love testing new kind of forms of advertising like this. And I like that it's kind of a dedicated, you have their attention in the spot. We'd have to figure out, like, if they take the book and magazine, which I'd want them to do, how you actually replenish that supply. So there's a supply chain question.
I strongly believe at some point as we start expanding in 2020, advertising revenue will overtake everything else that we are doing.
I don't know about that. You have to get a lot of distribution. I mean, you'd have to get thousands of pods up, I think.
Well, the fact of the matter is it's about the density of people at a location. So if you go to a consumer electronics show or an airport or a event like that, I mean, if you just are able to show your logo to 200,000 people at once by having, in the middle of very busy locations. So the value of how many, again, I'm not an advertising expert, but busy locations can bring.
Yeah, I would just tell you, I think you're discrediting yourself, right? You're using an old model of advertising, which many people hate, which is slap logos up everywhere. You're actually owning a 4 foot by 4 foot 4-seat experience, and I think you should price advertising around that. You should invent a new model, not rely on old ones, around old online models. That is a CPM basis.
Absolutely. So, by the way, is it 4 feet by 4 feet?
Whatever it is, I'm making that up. All right, let's wrap up with the famous 5. Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
Well, I don't read a lot of business books, but I know a book called Alchemist, which my father gave me, which I keep all the time. I read that once in a while.
Number 2, what's this? Is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Well, Elon Musk.
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building your company?
Favorite, Salesforce.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep are you getting every night?
If I'm lucky, maybe 4.5.
Okay, and what's your situation? Married, single, kids?
Married with a 6-year-old.
Okay, 1 kiddo, and how old are you?
1 kid, son, 6-year-old.
No, how old are you?
Oh, I am 37.
Last question, what do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
Do what your heart tells you to do. If you believe in it, just go for it. I mean, don't hold back. But of course, know your numbers. Learn from Nathan.
Zenspace.io. Little pods at conferences you can rent out. They did about $100,000 in revenue last year, already doing $250,000 per year close this year, hoping to hit $1 million by the end of the year by putting 30 pods out across 4 customers, making money by either leasing the pods monthly at $1,200 per month to these locations or doing a rev share for people that swipe their card to use the space on an hourly or minute by minute basis. They're burning, call it $45,000 per month. That's gross burn, not net. That's total expenses. They've raised $700,000, raising another $800,000 right now on the same note at a $7 million cap, team of 14 as they look to scale. Mayank, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thank you so much, Nathan.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it, and the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.